There is a kind of pain that never leaves you, not because it wants to hurt you forever, but because it's trying to teach you something you keep refusing to learn. You know the pain I'm talking about. The one that hit you at 2 a.m. when the house was quiet and there was nobody to perform for. The one you smiled through in front of your family, your friends, your co-workers, while inside, something was breaking. The one that made you sit in your car for 10 extra minutes before walking into work, just to compose your face into something that looked okay. We are taught to run from pain, to numb it, hide it, medicate it, scroll past it. We are taught that healing means forgetting, that moving on means erasing, that the strongest people are the ones who act like nothing ever touched them. That is a lie, and it is a dangerous one, because the people who actually became unbreakable, the ones history remembers, the ones who changed the world, the ones who changed their own small corner of it, none of them forgot their pain. They carried it. They let it sit in their chest like a stone, and instead of throwing it away, they built something on top of it. There was a man who spent 27 years in a prison cell. 27 years. Let that number actually land in your mind for a second. Not 27 days, not 27 months. 27 years of his one, irreplaceable life, taken from him for standing up for something he believed in. He broke rocks in a quarry until his eyes were damaged by the glare. He was allowed one visitor, one letter, every 6 months. He missed his mother's funeral. He missed his son's death. He missed the entire childhood of his children. And when he finally walked out of that prison, the whole world expected one thing from him: rage, revenge. A man who would burn down the system that stole nearly 3 decades of his life. Instead, he became a president who chose reconciliation over revenge. He did not forget what was done to him. He said it himself. He remembered every single day of it, but he refused to let that pain turn him into the very thing that had caged him. That is the part people miss. He didn't heal by forgetting. He healed by remembering on purpose and choosing every single day what he would do with that memory. This is not just his story. This is the blueprint for every person who has ever turned suffering into strength. And if you are watching this video right now, some part of you already knows exactly what your own 27 years feels like. Maybe it was 3 years. Maybe it was 3 months. Maybe it's happening right now, today, and you don't know how you're going to get through the next 24 hours, let alone the next 27 years. Stay with me, because by the end of this, I'm going to show you exactly why that pain is not your enemy. It might be the single most valuable thing you own. Here's what nobody tells you about pain. It doesn't just hurt you. It teaches you things comfort never could. Comfort teaches you nothing. Comfort is silent. You can live an entire life inside comfort and learn absolutely nothing about who you really are, what you can survive, or what you're actually capable of. Pain is the only teacher that refuses to let you stay asleep. Think about the worst thing that ever happened to you. The breakup that gutted you. The failure that humiliated you in front of people you respected. The diagnosis. The loss. The betrayal by someone you trusted with your whole heart. In that exact moment, it felt like the end of everything. But look at yourself now. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're watching this video, which means some part of you is still looking for the next step forward. That is not an accident. That is proof. Proof that whatever broke you did not finish you. There is a reason ancient cultures used to talk about fire the same way they talked about pain. Gold does not become gold by sitting in a drawer. It becomes gold by being thrown into fire, hot enough to burn away everything that isn't actually gold. The heat doesn't destroy it. The heat reveals it. You are not falling apart. You are being revealed. I want you to think back to a version of yourself from a few years ago, the version who hadn't gone through what you've gone through yet. Would that version of you be able to handle what you're handling right now? Probably not. You had to become someone new to survive what you survived. That new person, the one reading these words right now, did not exist before the pain. Pain built them, piece by piece, night by night, tear by tear. So when people tell you to just forget it and move on, understand that they are giving you advice for a life that does not require depth. They are asking you to stay shallow so you can stay comfortable. But you were not made for shallow. You were made for something bigger. And bigger things require roots. And roots only grow in places that have been dug into. Here is the open loop I want you to sit with for the rest of this video. What if the exact thing you have spent years trying to forget is actually the one thing you need to remember most every single morning for the rest of your life? Not to relive it, not to reopen the wound, but to remind yourself what you walked through and did not die from. Let's talk about what happens when you actually do this. When you stop running from your pain and start using it. The first thing that changes is your relationship with fear. Most people are terrified of hard things because they'd never proven to themselves that they can survive hard things. But you have. You already have a receipt. You already have proof, written in your own history, that you can be broken down to almost nothing and still find a way to stand back up. That receipt does not expire. You can pull it out every single time life throws something new at you and say, I have survived worse than this. The second thing that changes is your compassion. Pain that gets processed instead of buried turns into one of the most powerful gifts you can give another human being. The ability to sit with someone in their darkest moment and actually understand it, not just say the right words. The people who have been through real pain are usually the softest, most understanding people you will ever meet, because they know exactly how loud silence can scream. The third thing that changes is your patience with your own timeline. When you understand that the man who eventually helped heal a divided nation once spent 27 years waiting, 27 years in a single cell, 27 years without knowing if he would ever walk free again, your 2 years of struggle, your 5 years of rebuilding, your one hard season suddenly looks different, not smaller, not less painful, but survivable. Because if he could hold on for that long and come out the other side still capable of grace, still capable of building something better than what broke him, then whatever you are walking through right now has an end point too. You just haven't reached it yet. I need you to hear this next part clearly, because this is the whole point of everything I've said so far. You do not owe anyone a version of yourself that pretends the pain never happened. You do not owe your family, your friends, your followers, or even yourself a story where everything was fine the whole time. That is not strength. That is a mask. And masks get heavy. Real strength looks like this. Standing in front of the mirror, looking directly at the version of you who almost gave up, and saying, I remember exactly what you went through, and I am still here. That is not weakness. That is the most powerful sentence a human being can say to themselves. So today, whatever you are carrying, the failed relationship, the business that collapsed, the diagnosis that changed everything, the year you don't like to talk about, the version of yourself you had to leave behind, do not bury it. Do not perform like it never touched you. Carry it. Let it sit in your chest like a stone, but understand that stones can become foundations. Everything you have survived is not evidence that you are broken. It is evidence that you are being built into something that cannot be broken as easily the next time. Never forget the pain. Not because it should hurt forever, but because it is the proof, the receipt, the unshakable evidence that no matter what life throws at you next, You already know how to walk through fire and come out the other side still standing, still soft, still human, and somehow, still kind. If this video meant something to you, if even one sentence landed exactly where you needed it today, do not scroll away in silence. Comment one word below, just one word that describes the pain that made you who you are today. Someone else scrolling through these comments needs to see that word. They need to know they are not alone in carrying what they're carrying. And if you want more of this, more reminders that your pain has a purpose, that your story isn't over, that the worst chapter of your life is not the final chapter, subscribe right now. Turn on notifications, because there will be days when you forget everything I just said, and I will be here to remind you again. You made it through everything that tried to end you so far. That is not luck. That is who you are. Never forget the pain. It's the reason you're still standing.